This is a story about standing up. My senior year in high school at Franklin County, we got a new basketball coach, and despite the fact that I was then and still am a terrible basketball player, I liked playing basketball, so I decided to go out for the new team with the new coach. And I think that coach looked at me and saw skinny but 6'4", long arms, enormous hands, and size 15 feet. And in a fit of, I think, indefensible optimism, he said, "Let's put him on the team." I scored 2 points the entire season. Not per game, all year. I scored those 2 points at Raven County High School on a very awkward 10-foot baseline jump shot. My wife and I, when we go to the mountains and we're headed toward Clayton and we pass Raven County High School, we have a moment in reverence for that moment. So I invite you to do the same. So I made the team and we got to our first practice, and our coach told us that he was very focused on the fundamentals, the things that were most important about the game, and that we were going to break down the game into its component parts, and we were going to focus very intently on the fundamentals of the game, and that every practice would be starting with something. So one of those fundamentals. So we had our first practice and we warmed up and we broke a sweat. And he called us together and he said, okay, the first drill we're going to do every practice is called form shooting. So they won't let me have a prop up here. So you just got to imagine I have a basketball. You can do this with me if you want to. Okay? So hold a basketball on your fingertips. Right? That's the first thing about form shooting. Not on your palm. On your finger, you should be able to see between the ball and your hand. You should see. And then you go like this, and so your elbows at y'all are good. If y'all were this compliant, I'd have to wash my car. So this, you're shooting your dominant hand, if you're right-handed, is at a 90-degree angle. Then you take your other hand and you hold it right here just to steady the ball. And then y'all can't do this because you're sitting down, but you start with a little bit, and then you go and you just do that, like you're dropping the ball. So we'd start this drill right under the goal, like just barely outside the goal. And we would go like this, and you'd make 5 in a row, and then you take a step back and you'd do it. So if you know a high school, there were 24, 25 of us on the team. If you know a high school gym, there are the 2 main goals for the game, and then there are 2 on either side. So there's 6 around. So he said, just break up into groups. And so we did the math. 6. About four of us at each goal, right? So we start the drill, and you hear the squeak of basketball shoes on the court, and you hear people dribbling, and you hear the sound of the ball hitting the rim, and you hear us making fun of each other. We've been doing this about 30 or 45 seconds, and then all of a sudden, he shrieks on his whistle and begins yelling, "Salt and pepper, salt and pepper, salt and pepper." Now, we don't know this man. Why is he yelling at us about condiments? We were confused. We were high school boys. He said, "Look at yourselves. Look." And I looked around, and we had segregated ourselves. We were in white groups and black groups. Now, there was nothing malicious about this, y'all. None of my black teammates, not Ed or Dewey or Keith or James or Toney or Nelson or Stacy or Kenny, none of them came to my group, and we said, "You got to go over there." It was just the safe, comfortable social segregation of 1980 Franklin County. He called us together to the center of the floor, and he said, "Listen to me. Other teams are going to try to divide us. Your friends may try to divide us. There may be adults in your life that try to divide us. We will not divide ourselves. There will always be salt and pepper, black players and white players in every group, everything we do." And we did it from that day forward. Every layup line, every shooting drill, every warm-up, black and white players. Now, I was 17 years old. I'd grown up in a good home, in a good community. Nobody in my life had talked to me that bluntly and that directly about race. But that coach looked at it, named it, pointed at it, made us look at it, and he said, "Not here, not on my team." He stood up. He was brave, and he was right. Now, I've thought about that a lot in the intervening decades, and I still think there was nothing malicious about what happened that day. We got along fine. There was nothing, but this is what I've come to realize since that day. pretty much 43 years ago. That it wasn't just that my black teammates, Ed and Keith and Dewey and James and Toney and Nelson and Stacy and Kenny, it wasn't just that they didn't come to my group. I think they were afraid they couldn't come to my group. And that has haunted me since then. Thank you.